Containers Kenya. My name is Bella. I'm a team member. What we specialize mostly in is shipping containers for sale, and both for sale and fabrication. Meaning you can buy the container as it is, or you can buy the container and then we modify it for you. We have different forms of modification. There are houses, there are business stores, there are offices, and hotels, schools, petrol stations, as well as kitchen. And then another thing, we are the leading shipping container company in Kenya, and we've been in business for more than 10 years. We sit with the client. He or she shares the design that he or she has, and then from there we issue a quotation. Once the client agrees with our quotation, that's when now we actualize. That's when the client comes, he selects a container, makes a payment, and then we begin the project. For business stores, it takes 7 days, but that one doesn't need you to sit with the client. It's something a client can just explain to you, and then you start the job. Things to do with offices, houses, schools, those ones you need to sit with the client and then he explains to you. But then again, after making the payment, you select the container. After selecting the container, then it's when we start the job. For us to start the project, we need a down payment of either 50 or 70%, depending on the nature of the job you are doing. Shipping containers has grown compare the time back and right now, they have really grown, especially when it comes to offices and business stores. Business stores in the sense that people are getting from Mabati structures. They're embracing the shipping containers stores. And then in terms of offices, you understand since COVID, most offices, some business closed, some were evacuated from there where they were. So that's why I would say it has really grown in the sense that you see with a container office, you can move with it from any given location that you want. So I would say from 2007 to date, guys have really embraced the mechanism of using containers as offices or homes. For you to buy a container, you need to identify a supplier who has been in the market for very long, in the sense that you see there are very many briefcase companies who open business and then close shop. So you should identify a business that has been existing for a very long period of time. And then for you to get a good container, you need to ensure they are well documented, in the sense that the documents here include a container intercharge, which in layman's language, people call it a logbook, but it's not like a car. But ideally, people call it a logbook. And then there's the written sale agreement and the receipt. For you to get a good container, you also need to check the outside feature, if it has dents, if it has rust. But these containers are made from cotton steel, in the sense that they endure the harsh environment and all that. So you might find a container that is rusted, but inside is well. That is not a bad container. But ideally, you should check features like if it's leaking, if it's accident free. Another thing you should also consider is there are containers which carry chemicals. There are food grade containers and containers which carry chemicals. So if you take the container that has been used to carry chemicals, definitely it will harm you. So when you're going to purchase the container, you should also ask what the container was used to carry. Like for our containers, we do stock. The only containers that we stock are food grade containers. So with this 60 or 50%, We do the work to the end. After completion and inspection of the work, now if the client is satisfied, he gets to clear the balance, and then we take the container to the site. Ideally, containers are very hot, so what we do to make it habitable for someone is we use a material called styrofoam. Alongside the styrofoam, we do gypsum. You can either do gypsum padding or you can use the EPS panels. For the EPS panel, they already come inbuilt with the styrofoam. But with the gypsum, you have to place the styrofoam first before you place the gypsum on top of it. And then in some areas like the northeastern part, it's very hot. So with that, you can either incorporate a roof to increase the insulation or put an AC. It takes a shorter period of time to do a container home or a container office as opposed to brick and mortar. And then another thing is, you see, if the ground is leased, you might have a business idea. You want to do business in that premises and the land is not yours. You see, once you are evicted from that place, you are able to move with your container. But with brick and mortar, you see, you've built something. It's a loss on your part, in the sense that you'll be required to bring it down and then you move to a different location. But with containers, you can move it to any given place. And just like the brick and mortar, there's some features which fit in brick and mortar and not in a container. So a container, ideally, it's something which you can build before building the main container, as in the brick house you want to build in future. But I would advise, it's less costlier compared to making a house with brick and mortar, and then it takes less time. Preparation prior to starting the project entails, you can, if it's within Nairobi, it's a site which is accessible. You can always come and see the site and advise you on how to do the ground. But ideally, before placing the container, we need the ground leveled, and then you can either do pillars or a slab. Yeah, with the 20 foot you can use four pillars, and then with the 40 foot you use 6 pillars. The 40 foot comes in two types: the high cube and the low cube. With the high cube and low cube, I mean the height difference. That's the height difference. The low cube is 8.6 feet high, and then the high cube is 9.6 feet high. So that is 1 foot difference. When you're doing the business stores, you can either use the low cube or the high cube. But when you're doing the houses or offices, we advise clients at times to use high cube, because of that extra space at times is important, and also that extra space at times is good for storage. But none of them is bad. You can either take a high cube or a low cube. Before we fix the toilets and the kitchen, the internal plumbing has already been done. And then what the client does at the site is the connection to the sewer line and to the source of water. And then he also gets to drop the electricity, tap the electricity from where he's tapping it from. But now, when you're connecting it to the source of where you're getting the water and the sewer line, you should have an existing either biodigester. You can either build a biodigester or a septic tank. You see, a container, I would put it as if you're a minimalist person, a container is ideal for you. And if you're the person who likes baggage, as in many things, then brick and mortar is good for you. But then again, you can always join more than one container to get more space. So I it depends also with your preference, in the sense that guys are getting away from the old ways of building. Yeah, so I would go for either container or a brick and mortar, because with the containers you can join more than one container to create more space. Another thing is you can put another container on top of the other, so that is extra space.
Did you know you can live in your home in Juja Farm and work in Nairobi CBD? Or are you in the diaspora and looking for a suitable place to build your home? Leeds Property Solutions is making this a reality. With a cash prize of 580,000, own a plot at Leeds Gardens or pay a deposit of 200,000 Kenyan shillings and the balance in 4 months. These plots have ready individual title deeds and only 15 minutes from Thika Superhighway along the newly tarmacked Juja Farm Road. For site visit our office in Ruiru Town or call us on 0792 161 099 or visit our website www.leedsproperty.co.ke. Leeds Property Solutions, your investment pointer. You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Once upon a time, there was a child who went on an interesting adventure. On this adventure, he got to meet Jack and the beanstalk. He then went into the kitchen and cooked up a snack for himself, and later on, he got to learn fun, new, interesting facts.
How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
The challenges we face in this business is the middleman, and then also in terms of transportation, you see when the fuel price increase, the cost of also transportation increases. And then another thing is also when the fuel price increase, basically the cost of almost everything increases. So the price of metal goes high, gypsum fittings and any other fittings, they go high. Another thing is in this business there are very many middlemen, in the sense that you are trying to cut that down, in the sense that you see if there's a middleman in between, you see it prevents the organization from getting more clients, and then you are not sure of what information they are giving the client. It's not quite expensive compared to. I would advise you do the comparison, and then before you settle for a container. Yeah. For example, the Airbnbs. There are very many Airbnbs which have been made from shipping containers. So yeah, go to Ngong, go to Kitengela, Kiambu, and Nanyuki. Yeah, you get very many Airbnbs which have been made from containers. So I would say the feature of containers is going up there. I think what is making us stand out in this business is we are a one-stop shop, in the sense that we have the containers, we do the modification, we do the transportation, we do the designing. We don't subcontract, like we don't have another person coming in to do the fabrication. We don't have any other person to come and do the transportation. So I would say what is making us stand out is that we are a one-stop shop. And then in terms of, we are not limited to the number of containers we can supply. We've taken very many containers, like Ugandans. The Ugandans don't have containers. They get our containers from here. Tanzanians, they get our containers from here. In terms, just the plain containers and the modified containers, they do the modification from here. For a 20-foot container, I would say it ranges from 280 to 300,000, and then that is a used container. But for a brand new container, it ranges from 450 to 500,000. And then for a 40-foot container, the low cube ranges from 480 to 500, and then the high cube ranges from 530 to 550,000. Modification varies. For example, when it comes to business stalls, the price ranges from 600 to 700,000. But now that depends on the number of shops you are taking, like the number of shops you'd want to have in the container. For houses, it varies because various different clients have different fixtures and different clients have different specifications. So it varies. So we need to discuss first. You need to come out with the floor plan. Give us your fixtures before we give you a quotation. Ideally, it's between 900 to 1 million. 1 million for a 2-bedroom house, from 1 million to 1.2, depending on your fixtures. Yeah. And then also when it comes to transportation, within Nairobi, 20 foot is 15,000 to 20,000. And then the 40 foot is between 25 to 30,000. So it depends. You see, a container might be coming from here and then just going here in Mombasa Road. I cannot charge 30,000. So it depends also with the distance, his own floor plan as well. But we have an in-house interior designer. Now, when it comes to placing a container, different counties have different laws, like the bylaws. For example, Mavoko County, you have to get a permit for you to place a container, but in other counties they don't allow, as in it's a temporary structure, so you can put it to any place as long as the land is yours. So different counties have different bylaws, so you need to go to your county, is it county office, and find out if they permit you to place a container at your site. But mostly the strict count is Mavoko. To the site you can shift it. It depends with the location. In the sense that you might not be living in Mavoko, you might be living in which other constituency, Kasarani, Nairobi constituency. So it depends. It depends on the constituency in which you're in or the county in which you are in. But the most strict counties is Mavoko. But other counties I haven't seen any hindrance in terms of placing a container. When you're doing the structure or the outside structure, ideally you need a permit for the construction to take place. That's the only thing. But if it's just a one container at the site, there's no permit. If you don't want the container to look the box as it is, you can use the various materials which you can use to make the container look appealing. You can use the pellets, wooden pellets, or you can use the cement board, or you can paint it and brand it the way you want. You can do graffiti, but graffiti will still make it look like a container, but ideally cement board and pellets. I would go with a container, in the sense that before I think of what to do with my land, I would go with a container. It's less stressful. to build a container home. Before you purchase a container, make sure that you have the valid documents. The valid documents, as I'd mentioned earlier, is the container logbook, the interchat, the sale agreement, and a receipt. Another thing is the containers have the chassis number, so you can always check. You can always check if it's tallying with the documents that you have. Another thing is other services that we do offer are the refrigerated units. The refrigerated units are used for storing perishable goods. Those are fruits, ice cream, milk, meat products, vaccine. We hire them. We also hire plain containers, and for a period, the minimum hiring period is 21 days. So if you're looking to hire a container for a shorter period of time, yes, then Containers Kenya is the place to be.